control over your thoughts or actions, and you cannot trust anything written or spoken because it's all caused by random events. Now, most of you out there are saying, well, look, this is all pretty obvious to me. But what I'm trying to say is that, yes, it is obvious. Everybody knows. I'm not going to speak for everybody here, but almost everybody knows that you control your thoughts and actions. You might be influenced by other things, environmental things, but you have a mind, you can figure it out. Okay? But people who believe, who are naturalists and materialists, do not believe that. Okay? By asserting that all processes are predetermined by a random arrangement of molecules, energy, and natural laws and forces, the materialist destroys his argument based on simple laws of logic, just what I just said. They can't even make the assertion. You can't trust the assertion they make because they're not controlling it. It's not being controlled by something other than nature. If materialist statements are made based on materialistic principles, there would be no reason to think they would be logical, reasonable, or true because these statements were predetermined by random chance. Now, you think you're saying this is ridiculous. I'm saying it is too. I'm telling you, it's being taught. Books are written about it. They believe it. If naturalism and materialistic thought is true, and I put those together as one thing, maybe that should be are true. What else is true? One, no objective morality. We had a gentleman speak here in this club. He was very learned, very sharp man, has written many books. He's a humanist. We won't get into the definition of that, and I asked him, I said, well, are you a moral person? Do you believe you're a moral person? He said, well, yes, I do. And I said, well, I don't have any reason to think you're not either. I've never heard anything bad about you. On what basis do you say you're a moral person? What are your morals based on? He thought for a minute. He said, well, my family, my parents, they taught me what was right and wrong. I said, okay, so you think you have a good moral standing based on what your parents taught you? He said, right. I said, what if your parents had taught you wrong stuff? I mean, are you saying that there's no objective list of morals that are true? No, you can't believe that. If you're humanist, you don't believe that. You believe that you make it up for yourself. Okay? If materialistic thought is true, there is no objective morality. Each person would have a moral compass in themselves that they learn as a person. Their parents, their friends, maybe their faith, where they go to church, whatever, teaches them what's right and wrong. Okay? But if you're not really thinking, if everything is happening just by random chance, there are no such thing as moral absolutes. 2, criminal behavior cannot be judged as wrong. You say, oh, come on. Well, I'm going to show you a video from a guy who wrote a book called Free Will. His name was Sam Harris. Very sharp guy. Very sharp. Tries to explain, although everybody in the world thinks that criminals should go to jail, that he says you can't blame them for what they do. There's no way you can do that based on materialistic thought. Choices do not exist. Everything that has happened from the beginning of the universe has been determined by matter, energy, and the laws of physics and natural forces. No free will. I keep using these terms, but I think you got to learn what's going on here. Nothing happens except it's caused by matter, energy, laws of physics, and natural forces. So, well, wait a minute. What about you're influenced by someone else? Okay, I said, well, the reason you're influenced by that person is because something, according to materialistic thought, something has happened naturally that has caused that person to do that, and therefore he can naturally somehow convince you. But it's all circular thinking. It does still, you can't have that kind of process in a materialistic view. Personal accomplishments do not exist. If you achieve something, it was preordained by chance and the laws of the universe, etc., etc., etc. You could go on forever. You remember when our president said, If you have a successful business, you didn't build that. Well, I guess because it was just ordained that it would have been built. Okay, so. All right, now I'm going to switch a little bit, and I'm going to go, I guess, to some logical statements based on what we just presented. Now, I'm all open for anybody that can tell me that naturalism and materialistic thought is not what I just put up there. Okay? What is the atheist view? Is it true? Since atheists do not believe in a creator God, and they do not believe in anything supernatural, they believe that all things came about by chance. That's their view. What is the theist or Christian view? Now, I can always speak for Christian theism because I'm not a Judaism scholar. I'm not a Muslim scholar or an Islam scholar. I don't know the other religions of the world, Buddhism and Hinduism and Confucianism and Taoism, and I can't think of any more, but there's a bunch. But I can speak for the Christian view, the way I understand it in my reading and investigating and study. There is more to reality than the physical material. In fact, the spiritual reality, not only more real than the material, it is much more important. God created us and has endowed us with the power to choose good or evil. Our actions are driven by our mind, which has complete free will. Now, I put a word in there, immaterial. I'm saying our minds are immaterial. You say, well, wait a minute, they're made up of molecules. No, but that's a different definition. We'll get into that next slide. First of all, we're going to back this up. And this is just two people that I've taken. These are famous people in the area of speakers and panelists and writers in this subject matter. Jerry Coyne says, free will is an illusion so convincing that people simply refuse to believe that we don't have it. You find yourself in that situation? You refuse to believe you don't have free will? In Free Will, Sam Harris combines neuroscience and physiology to lay this illusion to rest at last. Like all of Harris's books, this one will not only unsettle you, but make you think deeply. Read it. You have no choice. Nice little try humor, I like that. And he is a professor of ecology and evolution at the University of Chicago and author of Why Evolution is True. I think he offered that with you, didn't he, Jim? You and him went together on that Why Evolution is True?
No, I didn't work on that one. I haven't even read that one, actually.
All right. And this is a guy, this is Sam Harris, okay? If materialism is true, free will is an illusion as stated by Sam Harris, a famous atheist debater in his book Free Will, quotes free will as an illusion. He argues that we do not exist as immaterial conscious controllers. That's what I'm talking about the mind, okay? But are instead entirely beings whose decisions and behavior are fully caused by our brain and body. In other words, we do not make decisions. Everything happens by chance, simply uncontrolled chemical reactions. Okay, now, this is a man, and like I said, he's a very sharp man. Young, maybe to us he's young. Okay, put it that way. He is a person they go to talk about this subject matter, materialism and naturalism. And he's in all kinds of panels, and he gets applause, and he has a whole bunch of people who agree with this guy, that this is truth. Okay. Now, what I'm going to try to do